ASBM CEO Meet 2023, organized by Adithya School of Business Management. It is a wonderful day and I am privileged to extend my warm welcome to all present here. I welcome our Chairman Engineer C. Sukumaran Sir and our Managing Trustee Praveen Kumar Sir and our Dynamic Professor and Head Dr. N. Sundarapandyan Sir and our Honorable Guest Mr. Sidharth Gauni. I am super excited to have you all here and excited about all the amazing conversation that we are going to have today. Before we begin, joining us today is a man of virtue and simplicity. He is an experienced director with a demonstrator history of working in financial service industry, skilled in customer service, sales, strategic planning and public speaking. I feel elated to introduce Sidharth Gauni, the founder and CEO of ByLanes. ByLanes is a fashion e-commerce startup, a unit of SR Gauni Fashion and Apparels Private Limited. ByLanes is a more personalized approach to fashion e-commerce. They offer a cordial space showcasing the best of multi-designer collection in clothing. Sidharth is a strong professional with a Bachelor of Science focused on computer science from Oklahoma City University, United States. Mr. Gauni was once an RJ and marketing head for youth at 93.5 Red FM, Hyderabad. The more humble and transparent a leader is, the more effective he will be. Sidharth is one such leader and heavy package filled with sense of entrepreneurship. It is really nice to have you here, sir, and thank you for sparing your time with us.
Thanks, Dwight. Thanks, Mr. Sundar Pandian. It's quite a surprise when Dwight reached out to me. I think he has been trying to get in touch with me for quite some time now. I was a little caught up and sorry, my apologies for not having responded back earlier. But I was traveling a bit, but here we are, and thanks for the invite. I mean, it comes as quite a surprise, and it's quite an honor to be back interacting with students. It's been a while since COVID, since I've done this, but if my experience in terms of my failures can be of any help for these young minds and aspirants to learn from, then why not? I'm all here to share it. I very firmly believe that it's not the success that matters, but it is the failures which matter, because success, in my definition, is a party which begins on a weekend at 6 p.m. and ends probably 11 or 12 a.m., 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. And that's the shelf of success. One can't keep dwelling in one success story. One has to keep moving ahead. So success has very little shelf life. I mean, like, if I have to refer back to my own experiences in terms of how I look at it, just as an anecdote or an example for you people to understand, is that, when we all finish our +2, there is this huge hue and cry over the state board examinations to get into engineering college or med college, and all these coaching institutes, they put you through the grinding and all the churning for the 2 years, and then suddenly someone scores the first rank, and the next 2-3 days, all over the radio or T channels or anywhere on the hoardings, all you see is their name, and saying that so and so person was first in the state. And I think on the third day, none of us even remember who that first person was. And every year there is someone else who becomes first, and that first person is lost. So as I said, success has a very limited shelf life as far as I'm concerned, and it's a journey which matters. So here we are. I had a very privileged life in terms of when I compare myself to quite my peer circle, because my family could afford, I could go abroad to study. I had the opportunity to study on some of the great minds, and my professors were very instrumental in shaping my life. Because if I look at my life, there is a clear demarcation in terms of how I look at it. Pre-US and post-US life in terms of my journey. Pre-US was a different story. Post-US was a different story. I mean, before going to US for my bachelor's, my journey was that of in a to put it in a simple layman Indian context, it was that of being first from the bottom in a family of high performing individuals. But post US, I wouldn't say that I have been on top of everything in terms of whatever it is, but it's been a journey of self learning and a journey which has been quite enriching and quite exciting one. I mean, as the guy who seems to have done quite a bit of stalking and got a pretty decent understanding of what I've done, even though I've not shared much info. I don't think I've shared any info with Dubai here, but he's done an excellent job so far in terms of tracking down my career. So yeah, I have had quite a vibrant career so far. I have worked in various sectors. To name a few, I've worked in the media industry, I've worked in the healthcare industry, the pharma. I have worked in operations, finance, telecom. So I have had quite a vibrant career. I've been very lucky that many people saw it, that I am someone worthy enough to work with them. Many learned minds were kind enough to keep me in their company, and I've been able to learn a lot from them. And I think one thing what I have realized is learning is what is the key. I mean, like, to move forward. I mean, like, you cannot get stagnated. I mean, my professor once told me that, Siddharth, if you continue to study in a college, that means you don't know what to do in life. But if you go out there and you keep making mistakes and keep learning, you'll keep moving ahead in life. And then obviously you'll find your calling. So yes, again, that's what my professors told me, and that's what I firmly believed in, that learning is a process that you'll have to keep on. You have to be on that endeavor. So it's like, it doesn't matter whether you're watching a movie, even some of the most lame and dumb movies which are shot in India, something or the other we can pick from there, or even some of the most exciting science fiction stories that we keep coming across. There's always something to learn. It's just that what we are able to grasp from what we are witnessing and what we are listening to, and what we are reading through. It's very important. That's what I believe in. So I think, yeah. So, as I said, started my career in the media industry along with a startup in the IT sector, because my family felt that I was wasting my time away, and I could at least put my communication skills, which I am good at, to some use. So they pushed me into RJing, which was a very, very, what do you say, quite an anatomic approach from my family, because I come from a family which is full of doctors and highly educated bureaucrats. But then again, I think sometimes anomalies do happen in terms of decision making. So as an RJ, it wasn't my choice or my something that I wanted to do, but my family felt that I could be good at it because of my communication skills and my ability to speak well in public. So they pushed me into it, and that was where again I learned. It was the second learning curve of my life in terms of communications, interpersonal relations, interacting with people at large, understanding human behavior, because that becomes very critical for a management person. When you have to handle maybe one or two people under you, or 100 or 200 or more than that, it all comes down to how well you are able to communicate. So that's something which I've learned as an RJ over the course of my stint at Red FM. And then from there, again, it's like, I very firmly believe that one should follow their heart. I mean, like, as long as you're enjoying doing something, you should pursue it. If your heart is not in it, don't do it, because you'll not enjoy it. And if you're not enjoying something, there's no point in continuing in it. I have very firm belief in that philosophy of mine. I mean, like, if I'm not enjoying something, I very simply walk away from it. That's how I walked away from RJing, because for a period of 1.5 to 2 years, I was enjoying what I was doing as an RJ. But then I realized that, what I wanted to do was something more than what I was doing. I mean, like, it was bringing all the fame, the limelight and recognition and everything, but that isn't I mean, you should know when to move on to the next step. That's what matters. And that's how I transitioned from being an RJ and a MC into a full-time serious entrepreneur. And I am more excited by challenges than anything else. And one thing that matters is never fear failure, because failure is a constant that is there in your life. Even not doing anything is a failure. So we are all in a stagnation of failure. It is a success, as I was saying, is what we need to be more worried about, because success, once it gets to your head, you become redundant. So you have to handle success much more carefully than you have to handle failure, because not doing anything is also failure. So you are in a constant of failure. So that's okay. So I think that is what management students need to understand, that it is not always about achieving something, because the very fact that we are existing, as we always keep hearing, is that we are continuing to exist is also some level of achievement, because not everyone is able to get that. I mean, in terms of to be able to sustain it out. So as Winston Churchill once said that success is nothing but moving from one failure to another without losing hope, or without losing the drive to bring in the difference. So that's what matters. I mean, like that's where it is. So again, so I believe that every time there is disruption, there is a possibility and a window for innovation. And what matters is how much are we able to innovate. Whether it is a small fix or a big fix, doesn't matter. It is about how innovative your fix is what going to be the differentiator in terms of your performance. Because I think, you know, it's not that it's like, if we have to take an example of Swiggy or Zomato, it's not that we didn't have home delivery services prior to Swiggy or Zomato, but it is about the innovation of connecting multiple vendors onto a single platform is what the differentiator was, the key differentiator. The magnitude of the problem cannot be the defines. I mean, you cannot get bogged down by the magnitude of the problem. The larger the problem, the larger the scope for success. It's larger the scope for innovation, not even success. Because I think if you look at Zomato today, when it went public, when it was listed as a public entity, it was valued at a 1 lakh crore. The first startup in India to be listed at a 1 lakh crore valuation. But then that was not the end of it. I mean, like Zomato, to continue on that journey of valuation and to growth, it has to keep innovating, and it has to keep on continue to deliver in terms of their basic idea and their basic vision. So that's what matters. And as an entrepreneur, I very firmly believe that what matters is your ability to dream, and then to go ahead and chase those daft ideas. If you look at today, anything that is so called as a unicorn was not a traditional idea. If you look at Facebook or you look at Zoom, what we are using today, this was not a traditional idea in terms of innovation. Innovation is always daft in its very basic sense. You have to be outlandish, you have to be foolish, you have to be foolhardy to imagine something out of the box to go achieve something extraordinary. So I firmly believe that if you want to be an entrepreneur, I can only speak as an entrepreneur and as a management person in terms of how my journey has been. So if you want to do something innovative and disruptive, then you have to be foolish. You fundamentally have to be foolish, and you have to be ready to be ridiculed. No one is going to buy what you're going to provide. Nobody is going to use it. Why will they use it? Why do they need it? Well, nobody needed Instagram. Nobody thought that a cell phone will replace a camera. And nobody thought clicking a traditional picture will be replaced by more of a clicking of a selfie. Yesterday evening, for an example, how the success of Instagram is not on the fact that you are able to share images and videos on it. It's at the fact that you can create self videos and self imagery which you can share. You don't need to be dependent on a third person to create something, to create content. That's where the I think Instagram provides that difference, Instagram or Snapchat or any of these tools. So that's what it is. The ideas have to be outlandish, and they have to be criticized by 99 people out of 100. And that one person who believes in that idea has to be you. 99 people have to tell you that it is not going to happen. And that one person who is going to say it's going to happen has to be you. So that's where the change begins, and that's where innovation comes in. So that's what I believe in, and that's what I try to bring to the table in terms of what I do at work. It doesn't matter how many times I've fallen, and as we keep hearing these lines in the movies and everywhere, that it doesn't matter how many times you fall, it matters how many times you get up after falling. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, every time we fall, we get up. We are human. That's basic, Even if we lose our legs, we still try to balance ourselves on our limbs. That's human perseverance, and that's what you need to bring to your work. That's what you need to bring to the table if you want to be an entrepreneur. Or even if you're just not an entrepreneur, what you bring to the table is what perseverance is what matters. I mean, like as a management person, what matters is perseverance. Failures will always be there. Failures are there at every nook and corner. That's what my belief is. So yeah, I'm open to questions, and in terms of anything that you people had, I'm sure Dubai has shared my profile with you people.
Yeah.
So I'm open to questions, please.
Yes, Mr. Sidharth, even in a nutshell, I think you have given all the leadership qualities, a typical public speaker, and the way you communicated, the delivery is excellent and outstanding. I would like to register my gratitude and credits on that part for you. And learning is an ongoing thing, lifelong learning. We talk about communication, working with multi-industry today is what need. People think you have to stick with one industry. You have to explore the maximum possible. So innovation, then you can see that in the innovation. Next, you spoke about decision making. And again, that very important thing, what Steve Jobs shared, the two things you have shared, I correlate with this way: follow your heart and enjoy whatever you wanted to do. And
yes, absolutely. I'll just sum it up in this way. I keep sharing this quote. I wrote these lines. You brought up someone I really deeply admire and someone I have followed very closely. And he happens to be the only one of the two people I've really deeply admired in my life. That is Steve Jobs. When he passed away, it was quite an emotional moment for me. So I wrote a huge email to my staff then on that day in the morning when I woke up to the news that Steve Jobs passed away. So I wrote a very emotional email in terms of what Steve Jobs means and what exactly my perception of Steve Jobs or Apple is. I summed it up in these lines: innovate the way you live, innovate the way you dream, innovate the way you work. Doing so, you would have innovated the world around you. Steve Jobs' greatest contribution to human life is not an iPhone or a MacBook. It is about innovation.
He's a transformational leader. Yeah, he's a transformational leader who brought in so much transformation to the community in the field of electronics and electricals. And also in the human values, I could see
values,
that.
Yes. And in terms of how you communicate.
Exactly. That another thing you have brought in is perseverance and followed with stay foolish. Again, is quote, stay foolish. That brings you stay hungry. Then you got to innovate, keep innovating, driving yourself is something very important. And the next important, everything goes around innovation. What you addressed, disruption calls innovation. That is another great statement. I really like, I'm talking to someone, like Steve Jobs today. That was same thing. I wanted to, I feel like, I wrote a case study on Steve Jobs. I published it, but I see that he has done so much to the world. Basically, he's an inspiration, and we never met him, but so much personalized kind of feel he created for all of us. Especially, I had the same feel like you had, and many wherever we go and talk, and you could see the same feel. It comes across, right?
Absolutely.
So something really great introduction from you, Mr. Sidharth. I would like to acknowledge, and before we get into the questions, let us get our students a few questions here and there, then you could address on that further. Yeah.
Sure, definitely.
Proceed with it.
Good afternoon, sir. Happy to meet you. It's my name is the first question. Can you please your
My early life, as I said, I have to share this with you people. I mean, like, born into an affluent family, to be very honest, a well-educated family, I put it that way when I use the words, because it is not about the wealth that mattered in my family, but it is which mattered. So I was lucky that I went to my parents and to this house because my father had a very clear emphasis on education, and he sent me to some of the best education institutes. But then again, I was also born in a very unique way. I think God had different plans in terms. I always believe in Almighty. Again, at that age, I really didn't know. But then my father, being a very well-read man, realized that there was something unusual about me in terms of as a child, because I was very hyperactive to begin with. I was a very hyper child. I had a lot of energy and I had very little concentration ability. I mean, like I could only concentrate for very small periods of time. So in early 90s, my father had the foresight to go consult a psychiatrist at that in those days, and to take me there and then to see and ask what is wrong with my child, or to say what's exactly is my child's psychology. So probably I think I was one of those very few lucky kids at that age who was diagnosed with ADHD. I was diagnosed with attention deficiency hyperactivity disorder, which is a neuropsychiatric disorder which happens to be in your brain. But then again, I think it was the way that Indian society was constructed. So somewhere my father felt that, okay, he will grow out of it, or I could beat it out of it, or I could train it out of it. So it was a atypical Indian childhood of 90s where, I was constantly put into tuitions and tuitions and tuitions so that I could read, and somehow recollect enough that I could pass. So I don't think there was an exam where I really aspired to score a 70 or even a 60. I was more happy scoring 36, 37, or say a 40 and passing. So that's how my early life was. And typically it was more about, if there were 6 subjects, if I was passing 4, I was happy. If I was passing 5, I was more than happy, as long as I was not being detained back in the class where I was, I didn't have to repeat the class. So that's how my childhood was. I mean, like, I never understood why it was difficult for me to produce excellence the way my cousins or my own brother was able to produce. It was frustrating at some level, because not able to understand why I'm not able to concentrate, sitting on for long hours, trying to compete, the social stigma of failure. I mean, we as an Indian society, the problem with our society is we have stigmatized failure a lot. And that had a very profound impact on my childhood, that, failure and the criticism that comes with it. And that was again that translated into another problem as I was growing up. So I think some around the time when I was a teenager, I think, which happens only into 2 or 3% of the population with a basic neuropsychiatric disorder, they develop a secondary neuropsychiatric disorder. So I developed bipolar disorder. Again, I didn't know this, neither did I know that I had ADHD for a very long time. But I developed it, and so when I wasn't diagnosed with bipolar disorder for a very long time, and it was quite a journey for me to be diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So somehow I could manage to finish my schooling, and even during I keep sharing this story with everyone. I mean, when I was in my 9th grade, my cousin, my uncle's daughter, my dad's elder brother's daughter, she's of my same age. We both are of the same age. It's just a difference of 1.5 months. She's younger to me. And she was always a brilliant student to begin with. I mean, in terms of the Indian context of brilliance, that, she was scoring in 90s and everything. So again, for me, brilliance is not about the scores that you have. But then I'm just talking in terms of an atypical Indian social construct here. So because, as I mentioned earlier, that my family is full of doctors. So it was decided, it was a foregone conclusion, because she was a very good student, she was going to become a doctor like everybody else. So my uncle had a very unique thought, if my daughter doesn't get in the first attempt, if she's going to do a long term, let the age not get wasted. So any which way she's in ninth, so why not skip ninth grade and write 10th boards directly? And 6 months ahead of her ninth exams, she quit school and she started preparing for 10th board. No, as usual, what happens, I think many of you still go through this at your house or you have seen this, and I'm sure Sundar sir has seen this a lot, that what happens is once someone in the family starts over excelling, the burden to perform even normally or to, even if you're not able to catch up, there is this burden to, to at least mimic what the other is doing. And I was under the constant pressure that, there is someone younger to you, even though it was just a month and a half, she is writing 10th boards and God knows whether you'll pass 9th class or not. This is where it was for me. And it got onto my nerves really bad. Every morning when I'm going to school, I was like, all I was interested in going to school was typically for two reasons. A was my friends, B was for cricket. I was very good at cricket at that time. So every day I'm being taunted by both my parents. They're like, in Telugu, they used to taunt me that, someone younger to you is going to go ahead of you and you will continue struggling where you are and you will not even pass. So out of sheer frustration, I took a very adamant and, stubborn stance that even I'll write 10th. And initially my father didn't take me seriously, nor did my mother, which was natural because I was really struggling to pass. I mean, just to pass was quite a struggle for me. My father, somewhere he felt that, okay, any which ways this fellow will not pass 9th. So let me cut my losses. Let me prepare him for 10th directly. Let him take a shot at 10th. He will understand what 10th is. He will any which ways fail. It was a foregone conclusion that I'll fail. Let him write the 10th boards, understand what is the psyche required, and then I'll go back and train beg your pardon, train him out like a donkey so that he can pass with the usual crowd. So I think it was just 45 days or 50 days prior to the board exams when my father decided to get me enrolled as a private candidate. I don't know how many students over here understand that, but I think Sundar sir knows that. So I was enrolled into 10th board directly, and here, voila, all the question banks and answer banks were brought to my house, and I was given to study an entire curriculum, which usually you're taught through an entire year. And every day it was the same story. You wake up and you're locked up in a room and you have been given a set of instructions that by this hour, this is what you need to cover, this is what you need to cover. And in the evening, tuition sirs used to come, they used to teach me math and science. And for 45, 50 days, that's what it was. That is how it was going on, I mean, like, so what I did even during that time was because, I was never really serious about, I don't know whether it was 10th boards or anything, but then, so there's this, the reason I'm sharing it in detail is because I want you people to understand, how reading really changes a person. So what I did was my dad has always been a very voracious reader. So we have a kind of a small mini-sized library of various novels and everything at our house. So my dad thought that his children will take after him, and then he bought a whole set of Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Famous Five, Secret Seven, all kinds of novels which even we children used to read. I don't know how many of you have read those books, Tintin, Asterix, Comics, and we had a small size library. So I was so frustrated that I used to, till that point in time, I've never touched any of those books. At that moment, when I was locked up inside to prepare for board exams, I decided to sneak in a book every time and finish off a novel every day. So rather than finishing my curriculum, I was finishing off a novel. And because I had to answer my father at the end of the day in terms of what all I've finished, and there was a tuition teacher who was coming in, I had to answer some level of it. So I used to read through just like that. So somehow at some level, it was about the books that I was enjoying parallelly to reading the regular curriculum, and also that, okay, just because everyone said that, okay, you will not pass. This was a foregone conclusion. So I just wanted to prove them wrong at some level. So I think I was just reading through it to some extent. And in that quest, what happened, I think I just grasped, when you read through things, you tend to pick up knowledge. That is one thing I learned at that point in time. If you are able to read through, not browse through, but to read through. There is a difference in terms of what students do. They try to breeze through their curriculum rather than reading through their curriculum. When you read, you pick knowledge. When you browse through, you only retain knowledge for a short duration of time, which you can regurgitate. You can reproduce when you go back to exam. So when you read, you understand the basics. So I was only working on the basics because for me, getting those basics right to score that 40 mark was important. So that is only possible if you are able to get your basics right. If you don't even have your basics right, you will not get that 40. If you get everything right, then you get your hundreds. But then again, that is, how many of us retain knowledge which we have read in school. Nowadays, I take so many interviews over the course of past 15, 16 years. I've been taking a lot of interviews every time I'm recruiting. And I ask people some very basic questions. My favorite question I ask everyone is, if any of you can answer it here, that would be great. At what temperature does water turn into ice? Any one of you? What temperature does water turn into ice? I can't hear you. I will, like, most of you are muted out. So if you can.
0 degree. 0 degree.
No, 0, it is frozen. It's at 4 degrees centigrade, water starts turning into ice. That's called the condensation point of condensation. So that's basics science of 8th to 9th class. So that's what matters. Get your basics right. That's what I keep telling everyone nowadays. It doesn't matter if you are not able to solve Einstein's equation of E is equals to mc square, but getting your basics right is what matters in the long run. So I think I got my basics right when I was writing my 10th boards and I was preparing in those 45 days. So that's made the difference. But of course, let me disappoint you if you're thinking that I ended up passing it as taking a single shot. No, I didn't. I failed math in my board exams, and I luckily, we have a second shot they call supplementary. So I cleared my supplementary and I got into my 11th and 12th. So same was the case in 11th and 12th. I was not really sure what I wanted to do in terms of pursue what I wanted to pursue at a later point in time. The family had a foregone conclusion that, okay, I'm not fit for medical sciences because I don't have the aptitude for sitting for long hours and studying. So it was something that my family already had decided. And nonetheless, my dad said, what do you want to do in life? Whether you want to take ByPC or MPC, he gave me an option. So I said MPC because it felt easier. So I took maths and physics and chemistry. And again, when I was pursuing my +1, +2, it was a foregone conclusion by the family that, family tends to, our society tends to decide a lot of things that, okay, he is behaving in an atypical fashion. So probably this will not work best for him. So this is what will work for him. And that's how they will push you. They will slightly, in a very subtle way, keep nudging you in a certain direction. And my family, again, every time in get-togethers, I used to keep getting to hear, we'll buy a seat for him under the payment quota. Isko kaise bhi karke, we will, force him to finish in engineering. That's something we have to do. So that's what my family had decided. So that's the typical early life that I had. A lot was decided by my family, and I was more or less reactive. So, but then that's where I draw the line. That's what the early life, when I was pushed into engineering by my family. But then life took a different because I think it was playing up. And in all these problems, somewhere I was on a journey of self-discovery. I needed to understand what I am good at. It was not about what the world thinks I can achieve or I can't achieve. So my parents put me into engineering here in Hyderabad. They paid for that engineering seat, very expensive. But then I went to college as a regular student for probably 3 to 4 months. And somewhere in the initial 3 to 4 months, I was a very well-known individual in the college, not a student per se, very well-known individual because of my social skills, which is a natural, ability for someone with bipolar disorder and ADHD. When you have a neuropsychiatric disorder, even though it's a disorder, it comes with some additional benefits. You are wired in a better way to do certain things which others can't do. So so even though I didn't know that, so I was naturally good at communications. I was well known among the college crowd. So I was enjoying the first 3-4 months. But then again, later on, I got to know that my bipolar started playing up. I stopped going to college for various reasons. There were trigger points. Of course, I was put through a lot of very bad ragging. I think that is quite a term which you people don't really understand at this point in time. But back in the day, ragging was quite the issue, and I was subjected to a quite horrendous amount of ragging, and that kind of triggered my bipolar reactions. And I was not interested in going to college. I quit going to college. My parents didn't know for a long time. Finally, they found out. And then there was a massive showdown at my house. Then I really wanted to run away from all this. To be very honest, I was not enjoying what I was doing. So that's where the first attempt of not doing something first appeared. At that point in time, I was compromising, or I was trying to accommodate what my family or the society wanted. So I told my parents that, I can't continue here. I took a stance for myself. I said, no, I'm not going to go back to that college, and I'll write SAT, I'll write TOEFL, and I'll go to US, and I'll make a mark for myself. My father never really believed that I could crack SAT, because SAT is supposed to be tough. It's supposed to be really tough, because it's analytics at the end of the day, and we are never really trained in analytical manner. In India, we are more theoretical, and in the West, it's more analytics. So he said, I am not going to pay for anything. So somehow my cousins who are doctors who used to live in US, my sister had a lot of belief in me, my cousin sister. She said, I'll pay for it. You take a shot. Let's see what happens. And because I wanted to do it without any coaching, without any assistance, hardly any 2 or 3 books at my disposal, I managed to crack SAT, and I managed to get admission into a good institute, a good private institute in the US. And I got a scholarship. I went there. Now that's where my early life ends and my actual life begins. So I think that's how my early life was, Vismaya.
Good inspiration.
Quite chaotic.
Very great. Good inspiration. Good inspiration. I need to get in touch with you further.
Yeah, sure.
I share a kind of feel you have come across with you emotionally. I'll keep in touch with you later.
Yeah, definitely, sir. I would love to. Please, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Next question, please.
Vismaya wanted to say something. I think.
Yes, Vismaya.
Really inspiring, sir.
No. I mean, that's how life was. I mean, like that's it feels exciting when someone says it's inspiring, but when what do you do when you're thrown into an ocean and you don't know how to swim? You will stroke around. That's what human endeavorance is about. That's what I did. Yeah. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hi.
It's my pleasure to meet you, sir. Myself, Lenisha.
Pleasure's mine. Yeah.
My question is, being a CEO, what strategy helped you to perform at your best?
As a CEO, I really have only one strategy. I very firmly believe that a role of a leader is not to lead, but to create more leaders around him. A great leader is a one who can identify more leaders and give them that leadership role so that they can take your vision and idea forward. See, it is my dream to create a fashion e-commerce platform, but I alone can't do it. I cannot be like, okay, I'm the CEO. I'm going to tell Linisha, okay, Linisha, here's the task. This is what you need to do. Or here, Dubai, this is what I need you to do. Or Dinesh, go do this and bring it back to me. No, it doesn't work like that. A leader is a one who can work with many more leaders or identify leaders and give them that leadership role. Many times we come across individuals in our own grouping in terms of, your own subordinates who are not active leaders. They don't naturally take leadership. I mean, like for me, if there is a problem, I come forward and I take that leadership role. So I'm a natural leader in that sense. But then there are people who work with you or who work for you, who are not natural leaders, but they have the ability to cohesively bring the team together and get things done. So it is your job and it is your primary responsibility to identify leaders who are working for you. You have to create new leaders. You have to encourage them to believe in themselves so that they can execute your vision as their own. It is the mark of a leader to imbibe his dream into the people he's working with. If my team, if I have a team of 10 people, I'm able to, imbibe my dream into at least 2 or 3 more people who are working for me, and they take the onus of it, they take ownership of it, only my dream can get fulfilled. So a leader's role is more of for identifying more leaders and empower them to be the leader in your journey. So I think that's what my primary role is. It is about identifying more leaders. Yeah. I hope you understood what I was trying to convey.
Yes. It's clear. I hope you got Lenisha. What?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Bringing up stars into your region is something very important. Stars are the leaders,
Yes.
right? Nurturing stars,
that's right,
of your company. Yes.
Yeah, that's very important. And again, how do you identify a leader? It's not by the academics to go with. So as I said, academics can't be a barometer to identify a leader. I firmly believe that leaders are always the most naughtiest of the lot that you have, because only as Dr. Kalam said, and even if I'm to quote with who's the founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates, he said you always find that lazy person, because he will find the innovative solution, because he doesn't want to put in the hard work. So yeah, leaders come from very unusual places. If you look at Rahul Dravid today, nobody who looks at him will say he's a born leader or he's a natural leader. But he grew into that leadership role. He took the responsibility for a very long time. So that's about taking responsibility. Doesn't matter whether you succeed or fail. It is not always about, it is never about success or failure. It is about taking ownership. And it is your role as a leader to identify people who are ready to take the ownership. That's it.
Yeah, ownership is something very, very important today, and which is missed in most of the people around. That's why you can't find so many leaders around. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very character building thing. You, irrespective of what the outcome is, take the ownership. Nobody knows what the outcome will be. I mean, like if everything is going to succeed, then probably it is not 120 unicorns Modi ji quoting, but he would have quoted 80,000 or 1 lakh unicorns India would have produced by now. Every idea would have been a unicorn. Yeah. It doesn't matter, it just doesn't matter. It's about taking ownership. You need to come forward and take the ownership. That's what matters.
It's really good.
Yes.
Yeah. Next question, please. We are taking so much of your time, Mr. Sidharth.
No. I'm absolutely no. I've kept my evenings free.
Pushing the questions problem, for them to
no
so
worries,
that later we can have some time.
Yeah. Sure. Please. Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, Dinesh. Yes.
Good evening, sir. Happy to see you. My question is, how do a typical day goes on in the corporate life? How do it?
So typically I've not really worked much in corporate. I have worked in senior management roles in corporate, but then again, I have a top-down view. So I don't know. I try to keep my working environment very casual. I don't try to keep it as a corporate working environment, because
Mr. Sidharth, sorry to interrupt you. Why we want this question to be asked? I personally insist. When I was in the US, I was in Chicago, I was working in a company. When we see at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in midnight, you will see like 10, 12 cars out of 1,000, 2,000 cars in a company. 10, 12 cars will be standing still, people will be working. Those are the top level people, they have no time limits. They have to prepare for tomorrow by today. So all these are the things the top leaders like you, people have engaged, have to.
I agree with you to a certain extent on that, sir. I mean, that's something that even I've learned from the West again. But at the same time, recently, a couple of years back, this is something which I realized, which is more in terms of homogeneous thing. I don't really believe in a corporate so-called defined work culture because every society has a different work culture, and I had the opportunity and the pleasure of traveling a lot across the world, and I had interacted with various cultural people from various cultural backgrounds. So if you look at a culture in Japan, it's a different kind of a work culture there. So their corporate work culture is defined very differently. If you go to Dubai, the culture there is defined very different, even though they have taken quite a lot from the West. It's more of a West aping culture in Dubai. But then if you go to Sweden or you go to Finland, you go to the Norwegian countries, the culture is very different in terms of working culture is very different. We as Indians, we have a very bad habit of aping the West. We don't look within. So here's an example in terms of how I'll answer it for you, Dinesh. I hope you people understand. So pre-liberalization, that is 1992, is it that we didn't have a work culture? No, it isn't. We have produced great institutions like ISRO. We have produced great organizations like, our own armed forces are quite an example in terms of working tediously with a very good work culture. There was stress management is there, everything is there in terms of, we have produced some very great individuals, even pre-liberalization. So great minds. So see, let me give you a small example or insight in terms of why I try to avoid aping the West per se. How many of you people believe in work life, work pay parity? I think all of you believe that both the genders should be paid equally, right? Women and men should be paid equally. But guys, pre-liberalization, women were working in India and they were always paid equally. There was no pay discrepancy. India had its own work culture. India has its own system of working. There was no discrimination. So when you use the word corporate, it is very Western for me. So today, because we have tried aping everything from the West, we have failed to realize that in our own work culture, we were doing well. I mean, like, what is work culture? Work culture is going to office on time, delivering what has been asked of you to deliver on time, and organize yourself in a better manner so that your peer grouping is not suffering, nor is the end retail customer or an individual, if you're in a government service, is supposed to, what deliverables have to be delivered on time. We started off well in terms of, if you look at Indian history, we come from, if we look pre-independent India, we had very good work culture. Indians were good working individuals, but it's just the transition is where we lost ourselves. And again, at post-liberalization, we are aping the West a lot. But I think corporate per se as a defined work culture, I'm not really a fan of it. I try to create my own working environment. And of course, if I have to deliver something, then I have to put in those hours, whether for myself or for my team, I have to. And it is about how I treat my individuals and my peer grouping and my colleagues. Those who are working for me are my colleagues, and some of these people are my friends. You cannot, I never believe in a boss to employee relationship. Okay, somewhere you have to pull rank at times. So I do pull rank when it is needed. But I think the working environment that I try to bring to my floor space is that of equals. I believe that everyone is equal to me. Just because I'm paying them, it doesn't mean that I am something above them. Probably tomorrow I'll make money only because they are working for me. If they stop working, I stop making money. So I think it is a working environment balance that we have to hit, where we treat everyone equally and we are not above anyone. And our performance should never be subpar, because our working ability will also have an impact on someone else's deliverables. So that is how I approach my typical day or my work life.
So seeing each other as a resource, not just as colleagues or something else, that's so much important. Yeah, that's so much important.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely.
And we are working with structureless organizations today.
Absolutely. So that kind of helps, So structureless organizations throw up individuals with innovation.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So Tata's were the first one to do it. I mean, if you look at it, I don't know how many of you students know this. Tata's brought in the structureless approach in terms of innovation and ideas at their Jamshedpur plant, steel plant. That's it. Yes.
Good, very good answer, Mr. Sidharth. Unexpected answer actually, but you have elaborated really well on that aspect.
Thank you.
Next question, please.
Yeah.
Greetings, sir.
Hi.
It's my pleasure to meet you, sir.
Pleasure is mine, please.
Here is my question. Can you share about the ethics that you follow in your company?
Ethics is a loaded word. Okay, I'll put it that way. What's ethical for me might not be ethical for someone else. I try to live by my conscience. Okay, and my conscience is my moral compass. Okay, so ethics is it's a very simple funda for me. It's about don't do anything which on a larger context can be construed as wrong. If I am to give you an example, I'm sure a lot of you people have, if not read, but at least would have heard that, Lord Sri Krishna, during the battle of Mahabharata, when Arjuna had to take down his guru, what's his name? Dronacharya. So he had to use, a cyclops that Kunjaraha. I don't remember the exact Sanskrit phrase, but the name of an elephant and his guru's son's name were both same. So he said that elephant.
Yashwadhama.
Yashwadhama Kunja. So that's like ethics is again is a very fluid scenario. Always go by your conscience. Conscience is something that you have to justify for yourself. And you have grown up in the society, so on what larger conscience the society works. See, what's right today might not be right tomorrow, and what's right tomorrow might not be right today. So it's a evolutionary world. So go by your conscience and believe in yourself. I mean, of course, even a thief has a conscience. He believes that he has a right to rob. But then again, on a larger context, it doesn't really apply, right? So that's the thing. Everyone even like we have all grown up to the idea of Robin Hood, but then how much of it is practically possible? So yeah, go by your conscience.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Next person.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. This is Malarli. Pleasure to meet
Hi,
you, sir.
Malarli. Yes, please. Tell me.
My question is, what's your passion, sir?
What's my
passion, sir?
You are passionate about.
Passion.
Yeah.
Passion? I'm passionate about doing something for others. I'm happy if I'm able to help someone. I'm more content only when I'm able to help someone. I mean, like if I can sleep peacefully on a particular day, if that is a day when I've actually helped someone. I'll share this small incident in my life. I'll share two incidents. One which happened a decade and a half back, and one which just happened probably a couple of months back. Both are slightly correlated. So I was supposed to appear for my MSET here in Andhra Pradesh. Back in the day, we used to have common entrance test for engineering. So something called MSET. But then same like in Tamil Nadu, you have local and non-local issues back in the day in Andhra Pradesh. I grew up in Delhi because my dad was posted there. So, but even though technically I was a local, I needed to submit some affidavit and all. So I had to go to a notary person who was preparing an affidavit. So I got an affidavit prepared. I had a lot of money with me that day. My dad gave me some extra money so that I don't fall short if I needed something for that application form. So I got my notary done, and the guy, that old man who was a notary, was, I don't know, typical personality. So there was a boy of my own same age who was there, who was trying to get an affidavit done for his examination. He was taking some competitive exam, or he was appearing for 10th boards, I guess. He needed to submit some notarized document himself. He was short of 10 rupees. I had more than 1,000 rupees in excess with me. That boy was begging and crying right in front of me, and that man was not ready to let go of 10 rupees. And this boy was pleading. I had 10 rupees in my pocket. I don't know what stopped me from taking out 10 rupees and giving it to him. I'm sure I've wasted many 10 rupees like that in my life. I didn't do that. For some strange reason, I walked away from there. Until date, I keep wondering, what kind of a person, of a human being am I? I couldn't help a person with 10 rupees. I don't know what happened to that boy. I hope someone helped him. That's something which pains me till date. Recently, my wife was leaving for UK, and I had a lot of banking work which I needed to do. We decided that she could go. She wanted to do her MBA after having put in 8-9 years of work. So I said, yeah, you should go pursue it, and it will be a good experience. So we were doing the banking work, and I was there near the car outside. I was just parking the car, and then there's a handicapped man in a hand pedaled tricycle. He was going, and he needed 10 rupees. I was under a lot of stress as usual because of the hectic schedule, and we had very little time. I only had around 48 hours to get all the paperwork done before my wife could go for her visa. So he said, sir, can you lend me 10 rupees? I'm short of it. I'll come back from there and I'll give you. I just need to go till here, and so probably he would have come back and given me, or he wouldn't have come back and given me. As usual, I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't have. So this is atypical human behavior, or maybe I was just being an idiot again. I don't know. So that happened, and after 5 minutes, suddenly I recollected this incident of mine, which happened with me a decade and a half back. That, I didn't give 10 rupees to someone who needed it. I mean, probably this man who is, it might have taken a lot on his part to come and ask for 10 rupees, because he was already in a tricycle and he was leading a life. When someone puts in that, effort to lead a decent life, it takes a lot of emotional courage to come and ask for money from someone. So, and I don't have the habit of carrying cash. So I just looked around in the car and I found 10 rupees. I got out of the car, locked my car, ran half a kilometer or probably 300-400 meters, found that man. He was still trying to get those 10 rupees for something. I said, I'm sorry, I had 10 rupees here, you take it. That gave me satisfaction that, I could help. When I'm in a position to help, I should help. That matters. So that's what gives me satisfaction. I mean, that's what I am fundamentally as a person. Maybe it's just 10 rupees, but small things matter. For us, for me, it might be just 10 rupees. For him, that might be a world of a difference. One really doesn't know. It's not always about judging things. It is about, sometimes when you can help people, you should help people. That's important for me. That's what gives me satisfaction.
Being a responsible leader to the society, we have to.
We all have to be responsible.
Small or big doesn't matter. Small or big doesn't matter.
We are the society. Society is not what we look at. Society begins
basically
from
what
us.
You mean. Society in the sense the one man you met,
Yes.
that the previous 2 decades before one person you met. All these we call it as,
Society starts from within us. Society is not outside us. So that's what matters.
It's individuals.
If you want the society at large to be reactive towards you in a good way, then you also need to be reactive in a good way towards the society.
Shouldn't be seen into the bigger ways. It should be seen in individualized, personalized way.
Absolutely.
That starts from you, basically. That's what Swami Vivekananda says. It should start with you first, then it moves on to others. Valuing others, right? Whether it's money or even their emotion, it's fine. Yeah. Sometimes we have to give some emotions.
it's just a simple thing, you know. When we are faced in a tough situation, we always script that nobody is there to help me. So when someone needed help, were you there to help them is the question. So that's what matters. That's the thing. Yeah.
Dwight, it's your turn.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Can you tell about one career decision which changed your, transformed your career?
I'm sorry, I couldn't get your question properly. Your voice was cracking up.
Sir, can you tell about one career? Sir,
Sorry, I couldn't get your question. Can you repeat the question?
sir, can you tell about one career
Okay, one decision which transformed my career. There have been many such decisions. I think that so pre-career, the decision which transformed my life was the decision to go to US to pursue my undergrad, to leave everything here and then go there and pursue it. That definitely turned things around in my life. And in terms of career, I think my decision to, even though initially I was a little reluctant, but then I took it upon as a challenge because, you know, I was not much of a public speaker before I was an RJ. I remember in school, you know, when I was forcefully put into a debate or a debate competition, I ran away from the mic saying sorry. I was not a very confident individual then. But then I think my decision to continue with the idea of being an RJ transformed my life in many ways. I think that somewhere changed me as an individual in fundamentally. That being an RJ taught me that I should learn to take a joke upon myself. I should. Everyone tells us that you should learn to take criticism. It doesn't matter whether you learn it or not. People will throw criticism at you, and you will react the way you react to criticism. What's very important is you should learn to take a joke upon yourself. If you want to be a leader, if you want to be a management person, a leader of any caliber, you know, you will always have subordinates as you go in an organization. So you should learn to take a joke. The day you are able to take a joke, taking criticism comes easily. So I think RJing taught me that, you know, I should learn to take a joke upon myself. It is not about me just joking others. If I'm going to joke on others, then I should also have the ability to take a joke upon myself. That's very important. Yes.
Yes, sir. My next question is, at now, how do you manage your work life pressures and work day-to-day works?
Only one rule, Ma. I'll quote Hitler for you. For all the damn thing that he did, one thing he said very accurately was, what will happen. Why worry about it? And what will not happen. Why worry about it? That's it. Very simple. If you know something's going to happen, you have done your bit, you have put in your effort, it will happen. If it is not going to happen, it is not going to happen how much you take. It's very simple. No point in me worrying if something is not going to happen. I need 10 lakhs today, but I'm not going to get it. So what's the point in me worrying and getting, you know, worked up over it today? When I know that it's going to happen 5 days from now, it will happen 5 days from now. Me accelerating it is not going to change anything. Probably I can work towards making it happen a day or two earlier if there is a possibility. Okay. But if there is none, if it is a structural thing that it is only going to happen after 5 days, and it's only going to happen after 5 days. You have done your bit, do your bit and let the result play out. Just because you have put in an effort, it just doesn't mean that it has to happen in that way only. See, every day, Indian cricket, in every match, Indian cricket team, the same very cricket team goes out to bat and ball and field. But they don't win every time, right? So that's how I balance it. And with regards to work-life balance, And I think of late, to be very honest, I have to accept it here that I'm very bad at that. I have a very, very small circle of friends and I don't have much of a social life. Not that I slog it out hours together, but then again, I have kind of somewhere lost work-life balance there. And I think I have to work towards getting back that work-life balance.
Getting
But
things
then,
done.
yeah,
Sometimes you engage, sometimes you engage, you enjoy doing things, right? Instead
yes, so you continue doing it. Yeah, that's
continuously. Like us, how do we do at ASBM? We start at 9 or 8:30 in the morning. We go by, even you said by 10:30 today you wanted to meet us. I said, okay, proceed. I wanted to be here. That is my work-life balance. I just tell my wife and family, I'm going to be late today, 10:30. I'm going to meet a CEO today. So that's where we go with it. We take the flow, right?
Yeah, as sir is just mentioning it here, 10 o'clock, I said I'll meet at 10 o'clock. Then I realized I'm to get 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock. But then again, sometimes you have to be quick on your feet to adjust things so that, 10 o'clock, I'm sure you people would have been there for me at 10 o'clock. I didn't have to reschedule it. But then again, when I have the time available, I rather utilize it properly. I mean, put it to better use and so that all of us can get sleep on time. That's just being agile on your feet also makes a difference in your work-life balance.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that's right. Being dynamic, adjusting on the way. It's something very important. One of the good qualities of a great leaders. So that's really good. All these small incidents will make us learn about you and learn about a leader. It's great ways, right? Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm a leader or not. That's for the people
everyone
who I work with have to.
I strongly believe that everyone is a leader. Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
We are driving, as you said, we don't need to westernize. We don't need to go into European way. We are all leaders, born leaders. India is basically, every father is a leader in Indian context.
Every father and every mother. Mothers are
they are leaders. They are leaders. Because parental leadership we follow basically.
Absolutely.
When your company comes and the boss is a leader and we are like children, the people, other people, they follow.
Absolutely.
So bonding,
absolutely.
we create the bonding. Yeah.
Absolutely. See, what sir brought it up, I'll share this. It's leadership is not just about balance sheets. I want people to understand because we are in management school. So I had another startup pre-pandemic where we were into financial data management outsourcing from Middle East into India. So in a matter of from zero to no time, I created a facility which could work in 3 shifts, and we had ability of 100 headcount. Okay, then we were doing very well from day one. We were profitable. We were in net positive revenue from day one. Which was not just about breaking even. Everything was done, managed so well that we were in net positive revenue from day one of our operations. And then pandemic happened. During pandemic, it was a very simple, easy decision in terms of pure economics management, saying that if work is less, I'll pay you less. Okay, but then that's a pandemic. You are into the unknown. I'm not saying that there's something great about me, but this is what I firmly. And in terms of if we need only 50 people rather than 70 people that we have on board, it doesn't mean that we don't pay the other 20 people who are not working. Let's balance it out and pay all the 70, because till the point of lockdowns hit, we were making money on those 20 people's hard work as well. We made money. So it is our responsibility that we take care of these people. Mark of a leader, my professors told me, is not about how will you manage your teams when times are going good. It's also about how much are you there. As sir just mentioned, it is a family system. Again, I'll just go back to the fact that let's not look at it in a Western perspective. We need to look at it from an Indian perspective. It's a family system that we have it here. So I put my foot down with my partners, my colleagues, my co-founders who were much, much elder to me in age. They were in their late 60s and mid 60s, and some of them were in their early 50s. And I said, no, we have to pay these people. We cannot say we will not pay them. We made money on the hard work of these people when everything was hunky-dory. Today, when we are in the uncharted waters or unknown territory, at least in the point we can sustain, let's take care of them. And I put my foot down, and I had a very nasty falling out, but I stuck by my guns, and that matters. You know, when the day I said, okay, if we are not doing this, I'm leaving this organization. I left it. My entire team resigned after me. I never asked anyone. They resigned saying that Sidharth sir will not sit idle. He will do something else. He will always hire us. We can, any which ways they are not paying us, so we rather resign. And then today they are ready to follow me where I go. You know, come and join me in my new venture. So that matters. You know, loyalty is a two-way street.
Yeah.
You cannot expect loyalty only from one direction. It's a two-way street. I mean, that's very important. As a management, it's very important for managements to learn and realize that.
It's so interesting, Mr. Sidharth, having and discussing with you today. I think it's more than 1.5 hours. I can't believe, and we do not want to stop actually here, because it's like we feel like it's so interesting to continue, and hopefully we will have more sessions in future. And your inputs are so great, and so into the learning, You are a great teacher, by the way. I would say, as a teacher, more than that.
That is what I aspire to be.